And we're live. What a great turnout online we already have, Carrie. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, a global effort to help everyone stay protected whenever and wherever you connect. It's also our chance to sharpen our cybersecurity skills, learn ways to avoid security threats, and have some fun while we're at it. I'm Andy Kittleson, Rockwell Automation's Global and Information Security Training and Communications Manager. October just might be my favorite month of the year, but I know that might not be the same for everyone else, so I really am very grateful for the incredible turnout that we have here online. I'd like to welcome you all to sit back, relax, and get ready to be amazed as I introduce to you Carrie Tomlinson. Carrie is a cybersecurity news reporter who works to help people stay smarter and safer online. She spent 3 decades as a TV news reporter, often going undercover to investigate crimes, and she's won multiple Emmys and other journalism awards. Now she looks for creative and compelling ways to show people what is happening in the digital world and how it impacts them. Carrie will have some Q&A sessions at the end, so please go ahead and enter those questions throughout the presentation. I'd also encourage you all to follow her on the Archer News Network YouTube channel, and I've even linked it in the announcements section. So without further ado, I give you Carrie Tomlinson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're going to talk about how would you hack me so you can learn to social engineer yourself. So first, a little bit about me. 30 years in TV news. I started when I was a teenager, and every day in TV news is so intense with deadlines that if you don't meet the deadline, multiple deadlines during the day, you can lose your job, and people do lose their jobs because they don't meet those multiple deadlines. So what I say is that each day in TV news is like a month in real time. So if you do the math, I am about 900 years old. I'm looking pretty good for 900. Hopefully, with all of that, I've gained some wisdom. I've spent my career looking at threats, exposing threats, and helping people stay safer. So about 5 years ago, I decided to retire from TV news and start a cybersecurity news organization called Archer News Network with the goal of translating what is happening in the world of cybersecurity for the non-tech expert, the person who doesn't know all the lingo and the jargon and the acronyms and what does it mean, so that all of us can stay safer. And that's what we're going to do. Now, why would you hack me? I seem nice. I am nice. Why are you going to hack me? Well, because we're going to put ourselves in the minds of the attackers. We are going to look at some social media posts. These first ones are not real posts. They are posts designed to show you how it all works. So this is me. I just got a new job. I am the supervisor at Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a fake zoo that I created. Would be a great name for a zoo, Jurassic Park. Why isn't someone doing that? So I am posting. I'm excited. I got a new job. I'm working there. So how would you hack me if I post that I have a new job? Well, here is how the attackers are actually doing it when you post about where you work. And this cybersecurity advisory from the federal government shows you what's happening. Cyber criminals take advantage of increased telework through phishing campaign. This is a huge campaign that is going on. What happens is the crooks look online and they see, where do you work? And they read your LinkedIn profile, they read posts about you, then they call you up and say, hey, I work with IT for so-and-so, for Rockwell. They chat with you for a while because they've learned a lot about you. And then they say, okay, we're having, say, connection problems. We need you to connect to your work VPN or whatever work system. Go to this URL, and it's very similar to your actual VPN URL. And you go there and you enter your password and any multi-factor authentication, and boom, you get through to work. So you think that this is all legit. Well, it's not. They send you to a fake page, they gather your stuff, then they send you on to your work page, and you are none the wiser. This is a huge, huge issue that's going on right now. It is massive. So what we're learning about is how you are flashing your cash online. Here's my post, only the best for my sugar plum. That's not my child, definitely not my money. But this is the kind of post that in the past people would say, well, don't flash your cash because The bad guys will know you have big stacks of cash at home. Remember, I don't have big stacks of cash at home. They will come and they will rob you. Well, now we're learning what flashing your cash means in 2020. Flashing your cash is exposing important information online that may seem innocent to you. And it's important to see how the attackers are using it to get to you so that you can be prepared. You don't need to not post anything about yourself. You do need to know how they're getting through to you and how they're using it. So we look at another post. This is me talking about how I can't get into a Zoom meeting. And here's a meme of a giraffe. It's Jurassic Park. Remember, his neck is so long that he can actually look into the window of the airplane that you're in on the outside looking in. I'm complaining I can't get into the Zoom meeting. How would you hack me? Well, this is how they are actually hacking you. If you say you have trouble logging in for something, for example, this is a real live post on Twitter, someone complaining PayPal is a joke, stopping me from using my PayPal account till I send a bank statement. Well, I am raging, angry face, 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 face. Real complaint because they can't get in. So boom, what happens? Well, isn't that nice that PayPal would respond on Twitter and say, hi, so-and-so, we sincerely apologize for this. In order to regain access to your account, please visit this link. Well, it looks legitimate. It's a nice tweet. And look, someone else is willing to help too. All right, blank. Please visit this link immediately to submit your account for instant review and resolution. So quick to respond, that's great. Well, these are both fakes. If you click on their account, you'll see an account that looks very, very similar to the real PayPal account. And if you click on the link, it'll take you to a PayPal login page. Of course, you have to log into PayPal, but it's fake. So when you complain online, the attackers are quick to respond. Not every time, and sometimes you will get legitimate responses, but you really need to verify. Look at the account and verify, is that the actual account? And are you better off communicating in a different way to get your problems resolved? Because you will give away your PayPal password and email, and you will lose all your money on PayPal, and they will sell your account to someone else. Here's another post. I'm complaining about some technology at my job. I hate the new automatic feeding program, so slow. Anyone else using Zoodles? Losing my mind. Zoodles is a fake bit of technology that I created. I'm pretending that you use it to feed the animals because you're working from home as the supervisor. You press your Zoodles buttons and you feed the creatures. So how would you hack me? This seems fair. We get frustrated by technology. Maybe someone else can help us with the technology. Well, complaining about work tech is one thing that the vishers just loved. Vishers, voice phishing, those are the ones who are calling up and pretending to be IT. This is a headline: alert, phishing attacks are surging. FBI CISO warn hackers targeting those who are working at home. So this is related to the voice phishing attacks we were talking about earlier. This fellow you see is a 17-year-old from Florida who was arrested for the big Twitter hack this summer in July. And if you may or may not remember this, he and a couple of cohorts, a couple other young people, are accused of calling up Twitter and pretending to be Twitter IT, getting access to Twitter accounts and taking over accounts, posting that people like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Kanye West, that they were offering free Bitcoin. And they got about $100,000 before they were quickly shut down. But what the investigators found is that any sort of discussion of work technology was used by the attackers to make you feel more comfortable with them. So when they called up and talked to you, they could say, how are you doing with Zoodles, for example? How are you doing with Zoodles? We've had some problems. Have you had any problems with Zoodles? And you say, yes. Oh my gosh, Zoodles is so slow. The bears are angry. The tigers are growling at me over my Zoom meetings. They use it to trick you into thinking that they work there. And this is very common. It's not just with these phishing attackers, but this is the most notorious example so far. Okay, here's another post. How would you hack me? Oops, made a little mistake and let the rabbits into the tiger's pen. Anybody have any job openings? Looking for work. And there you see a picture of a tiger eating some meat. I picked a picture for this one where you can't really see what the tiger is eating, because who wants to see the tiger ripping apart another animal like that right in front of you, right in your face? So it's a gentle picture. So how would you hack me? Well, here's how the bad guys are actually doing it. If you say you are looking for work, they will pounce, just like the tiger. This is an actual LinkedIn scam message from a campaign that has been going on. In this particular case, they were targeting aerospace and defense people. So you would get a message on LinkedIn. In this case, this is the real name of a person, human resources manager at Rockwell Collins. Dear Sir, Collins Aerospace is a global aerospace and defense company. I saw your profile in LinkedIn, and then I like your enthusiasm. Not great English, but that's not necessarily an issue at all. We welcome elites like you. I want you to work in our company. I should be very grateful if you would accept my request. Contact us. And what happens if you do contact? Well, another part of this campaign, they also pretended to be from General Dynamics. They would converse back and forth with you. This is a real message from a real scammer doing this. And they would ultimately send you a link so that you could learn the salary information and job description for the job. Very important. If you're looking for a job, you need to know this. And if you try to click, it would turn out that you would need a password. And so you would say, hey, I need a password, and they would provide you the password. So it seems very secure. But it wasn't. And ultimately, what the investigation revealed is that it was a nation-state spying campaign to try to get in and glean any sort of information. Could be intellectual property, could be secrets, and in some cases they were actually stealing money as well. So not just money from your company, but you personally could end up losing money in all of this, as well as being hacked by a nation state, not something you really want to be a part of. So I'm looking for my job, leaping into the great unknown, sent out 100 resumes this week. Hope I land something soon. Wish me luck. A little elephant leaping out into the great unknown. You want to spread the word that you're looking for a job. So what happens when you're looking for a job, and what happens when you're sending out resumes? Well, this is one of the things that is happening. This is an actual scam message. The person who received it had posted resumes online, and they got a message on their phone, in their text messages. And that feels very personal. Your text messages feel very personal. And the message says, are you still looking for work? And the person says, yeah. And the scammer says, well, I saw your resume on Indeed, a job posting site, a job site. So they got your phone number and they texted your number. Ultimately, this was a scam. And in this particular one, it was one of those scams where they send you a check for more than the amount that you need for the job, say for $5,000, and you cash it at the bank. And for several days, this is still a thing, for several days, the banks do not catch that it's a fake check. So you take the $5,000, you wire, say, $2,000 back to the scammer, you send it back, and then you keep the $3,000 to do your job, whatever the particular job was of the moment. Well, then the bank comes back and says, you need to give us the entire $5,000. You need to give us all of it. And you don't have it because you sent money back to the scammer and you spent it on your job and you're in trouble. However, the scammers also then have your information on their sucker list, which means they can either use it for future scams or they can sell it to anyone else online on the dark web and sell it to them so that you become a future target for all kinds of scams of every level from very small to very big. Well, here's my post. I'm just a wee bit nervous. I got my job back at Jurassic Park. That's great. But all this time without a paycheck means I'm struggling. I need money and I need it fast. So how would you hack me? Well, how are they hacking people in this situation? This particular one is an email claiming to be for a part-time job at UNICEF, a charity organization, where you can make part-time and make decent money helping people in need in the charity. You are more likely to click and more likely to respond to this kind of scam when you need money. And when you post it online, you are telling the attackers, hey, don't waste your time sending this out to everybody. You can be much more efficient by sending this just to me. This particular scam, once again, another low-level scam where they send you the fake check and you follow through and send money and lose money and they make lots of money. That money is often used for other scams, for larger scams. One of the popular ones is BEC, Business Email Compromise, where they pretend to be you and they email another person in your company to get that other person to send money to them, and it's very successful. Also on the need money line, so that was a low-level one we saw. Now we're going to look at a much higher level. I wouldn't even call it a scam. It's definitely an attack. This fellow, his name is not really Dixon Yao. That was the name he was using. And he created a fake LinkedIn profile and a fake consulting company in Washington, D.C. And through LinkedIn, he was connected to all kinds of people. Once again, he liked military and he liked government, connected to all kinds of people. And he was supposed to ask targets if they are dissatisfied with work or having financial troubles. Well, in reality, according to his guilty plea in July, in reality, he was spying for a nation state. In this case, it was China. He would ask people, can you write a paper? Can you just write a short paper about this kind of information for money? You would get paid, maybe you'd get $2,000 for writing this paper. And in reality, the questions that he wanted you to answer were questions that were very helpful for the foreign government. It was a spying operation designed to suck people into spying for a foreign country. But once again, he looked for people who were having financial troubles. He looked for those people posting online that they were needing help. Well, this is a nice one and certainly one a lot of people do. It's going to be a great birthday. My coworkers brought me this sweet and wild cake at lunch. It's a zoo cake. Thank you, friends. So you might say, well, you're not supposed to post about your birthday online, but everybody does. And in fact, your birthday is very easy to get. It's not hard to learn someone's birthday these days. So although cybersecurity experts recommend don't post about your birthday online, lots of people do, and frankly, the information may already be out there. It's kind of hard to keep it away from the attackers. But that's not what this is about. This is another issue. It turns out that on and around our birthday, we are much more likely to click on links in emails. Experian did some research on it, and they found with birthday promotional emails for sales and marketing emails, people are 179% more likely to click than on a regular promotional or marketing email. We are click happy on or around our birthday. In addition, a company that sends out this birthday promotional email gets 342% higher revenue through this kind of message. And on top of that, a 481% higher transaction rate, meaning we buy more, we do more transactions, and we spend more money when it comes to our birthday, on or around our birthday. The attackers know this. I speak with professional social engineering experts. I do interviews with some of the greats like Jenny Radcliffe and Kieran Lavelle, names you probably don't know, but in the cybersecurity world, there are very prominent names. And they say their job as professional social engineers is to test companies to see how attackers would get in. This is a top one. It's your birthday. Send some sort of promotional email or some sort of email related to your birthday, and you're going to click. You're feeling good. It's your birthday. People love you. People will do things for you that they wouldn't normally do. They will give you things they wouldn't normally give you. And you trust them. You're feeling good. You love the world. Click, 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 and in they go. How would you hack me? So this is me complaining. I ordered myself some new sunglasses. They're back ordered until November, like everything right now. Guess I'll just have to keep my eyes closed. Until then, I'm waiting. There's my little ostrich. So everything's back ordered right now. We're ordering a lot more things online, and things are back ordered. A ton of us are waiting. How are the scammers getting us? How are the attackers getting us? You ordered a product. This is a very popular scam message right now, phishing message. They call it smishing because it's SMS or short message service phishing. Important notification about your delivery. And this is once again sent to your personal phone number on your phone. It feels very personal. In this particular case, this came into my phone. In this particular case, the name is in Arabic. I know my name in Arabic. That is not my name, so they got the name wrong. But if your actual name is in there, you probably have either ordered something, or you're waiting for something, or you're thinking about ordering something, or you're wondering, did somebody send me something? Thanks, Mom, for sending me something. A lot of people are falling for this. A lot of people say, well, but how did they get my name and phone number? With all the data breaches that happen with companies, new data breaches every week, databases of your name and email and phone number are out there and are sold on the dark web. You could easily, as an attacker, just grab one of those databases, use automation to send out a text message to people with the phone number and the first name listed in the data breach database, and boom. This is very popular right now, and it works. If you click on the link, we've seen various investigations of what can happen. Some of it is as simple as they want to get your credit card information, which of course creates a headache for you. We have to cancel your credit cards, et cetera, et cetera. They also want personal information from you. So they already have your name and phone number, maybe your email address. If they can get some more personal information from you, then they, for example, a password, then they can attack and take over your account and sell it or use it to get through to you. And they can also download malware onto your phone, which is very convenient for them. They can sell the access to your phone, they can sell access to your work, or they can simply attack you, make your life miserable. Okay, we're getting close to the last of these. A surprise visitor for lunch. Got any recipes a hungry bear would like? Need one right now. The bear's in my living room. Quick, everybody send me a recipe. How would you hack me? If you're looking for a recommendation, you are much more likely to click. You believe you're trusting your social media group to send you a recommendation that is not a scam link. In addition, there are issues like this one. This is a browser extension called Print Recipes Search. This kind of browser extension is very popular. It claims that if you download this browser extension, it will help you easily find and print recipes. But it is not true. The investigations have discovered that this and many other similar recipe browsers or browser extensions that claim to do this kind of thing, maybe with another topic, really just track your information. They don't make it easier to find recipes. They don't make it easier to print recipes. They send you to illegitimate search pages that don't help you really find anything at all. And they do track your information, which they can use against you or sell. But if you are looking for a recipe and you see this or someone sends this link to you, use this extension, browser extension, well, okay. And then when you try to remove it from your computer, it's very hard to remove because they want persistence on your computer and they'll make it very hard. And if you look online, you can see people complaining, how do I get this off? This doesn't work. What they may not know is that their information is also being tracked. How would you hack me? We're down to the end here of my social media posts. Outside of the Jurassic Park Cafe, this is my favorite place. I I hit Mr. Poffy's coffee shop every morning before work. Mr. Poffy's coffee shop is made up. I made it up, but I really would like to see a coffee shop named Mr. Poffy's Coffee. That would be so cute, and I would attend. So this seems harmless. We all talk about our favorite coffee place. We all talk about our favorite restaurant, our favorite pizza, our favorite this, our favorite that. Well, favorite places are so popular for the scammers. This is a fake Costco coupon that was circulating, and this one wasn't used as a target necessarily. But social engineers do use this. They will send you a coupon for your favorite place. They will either copy a real Mr. Poffy's coffee shop coupon, or they will make one and they will send it to you and you think that's great, especially if they send it to you near your birthday. Well, how great is that? Or if you're struggling for money, they'll send it to you and you go great and you click on it and they can download malware onto your computer. Keyloggers that follow what you type, suck up your password, send it away, spyware, things that can take screen grabs, that can listen in on your camera, on your audio, track your messages, get into your work email, steal your work email, pretend to be you, and track all your stuff. It's quite popular with professional social engineers as one of the key ways to get in. So if you get a coupon, check with your favorite place before you click. Just too easy. And last but not least, this is me playing rugby with the rhino. This is a real picture. Getting in a little bit more practice before the next rugby match, tournament next weekend rugby. Okay, it's not really me. I play hockey, not rugby. So how would you hack me? All of us post about our favorite activities. Social media is basically the perfect place for that. You can share with other like-minded people. You can show that you're active. You can share your good times. How would you hack me? In this particular case, specifically about rugby, and I'm guessing there are some rugby fans out there, but maybe not a lot. Watching the 2019 Rugby World Cup live, they pretend you can watch it for free if you just make an account. And of course, this works for any big sporting event, just make a free account. And what you do is you put in your name and your password and you get to watch. It's actually fake. You don't get to actually watch. But what you did is you created the free account for yourself. You think that's harmless. Well, it turns out a recent survey shows that 1 out of 6 people use the same 1 to 2 passwords on all of their accounts. So if you make a free account, you're probably using that password that you always use. Now the attackers can take that and try it on all of your accounts and boom, they get in. Another 30% of people, according to this survey, use the same 5 to 10 passwords on all of their accounts. Which means it's really not hard. The attackers are not sitting there doing 2-finger typing to do all this. They simply feed it into their data and with automation, test thousands of people's accounts at the same time to use the same 5 to 10 passwords, and they just put that into their database. It's not hard. They don't have to remember your same 5 to 10 passwords that you're struggling to remember. They don't need to, so boom. In addition, once you get through and you make your free account, they would like your credit card details. And of course, now you're on the list of people who falls for this kind of thing. Doesn't have to be rugby, can be any kind of sporting event, can be any kind of event of something that you are interested in, whether that's quilting or gardening or cooking, kayaking, hiking, whatever it is. When you show your favorite things, you show, I am more likely to click on a link for this. A reminder on passwords, use different passwords for every account and store your passwords in a password manager so you don't have to try to remember the same 5 to 10 passwords because you will make yourself a victim. So that's enough about me and my job at Giraffe Park. Now we look at some real social media posts. This one is for Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, one of the biggest actors in the world. In this particular case, he's showing his little daughter And in the little video, he tries to get her for Father's Day to say that he's the best. Well, she says it's mom, that mom is the best. Very cute. So this is a Father's Day post. Well, what we know from what we're learning is that he is more likely to click on Father's Day greetings and links at this point. But what if he wanted to go a little bit deeper? Not just into the rock, but into all of us. How could you do it? Social media. Well, as it turns out, artificial intelligence allows people to assess what we write on social media and come up with a profile of us, of our strengths and vulnerabilities. In this particular case, IBM Watson does it. IBM Watson is artificial intelligence that does this as a service. Companies can purchase this, look at your social media, and decide how best to market to you, how best to sell to you. But remember, attackers can and do use the same strategies to market their attack to you. They are marketing to you to convince you to do things for them, to buy their scam. So what I did as a very non-scientific test is I went through hundreds of Dwayne Johnson's Twitter posts and I fed them into IBM Watson. And IBM Watson analyzed. They came up with all sorts of analytics, including this chart where we learn about the various things that make Dwayne Johnson tick. Now, of course, we know social media is not real life. And Dwayne Johnson, being one of the top actors in the world, presumably has someone curating his social media posts, perhaps posting for him. So this doesn't necessarily represent who we are, but it's probably better than nothing if you're an attacker. And probably the rest of us who are writing our own social media posts, we probably give a little bit more insight into who we are. More information from IBM Watson. This is Dwayne Johnson's non-scientific consumer needs. High need for stability, a lot of curiosity, need structure, blah, blah, blah. Even talks about love, his need for love and liberty and closeness. And this is just a small part of it. There's a huge amount. So how do you quantify all of this to turn it into marketing, turn it into an attack? This is a very interesting article posted on Medium by Ibi Sayed. He works for a startup. And he created this nice post and created a system. How to read your customer's mind with IBM Watson. In this particular case, he made a profile of an entrepreneur, supposedly a New York Times best-selling author. And he fed the stuff into IBM Watson and he created this kind of profile where you could go through and look at directly how to approach this person. This was just a test for Ibi. We don't know how accurate it is, but it shows you how he automated this. So he has automated something where he can use IBM Watson, feed in the information, come up with a profile. Attackers are glad to do this same thing with you. They are glad to use this information to see what is going to make you click. What are you going to respond to? How can they send you a message? What will you do with it? Very important to remember the tools that the attackers have and that they are using from your social media. So you can be ready to block, defend, tackle. So you can keep them out. You need to know your vulnerabilities, just like they know them. Experts say one of the best ways to do it is to Google yourself. Look and see what are the top things that come up because the attackers are doing that to you. They are Googling you. They are looking at your profile on LinkedIn. They are looking at your profile on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. What are they seeing? And when you post, think about these things that we have talked about. Think about, well, when I post about my job, this is what kind of attack I am inviting. The experts say, do not stop posting, be on social media. But be aware, when you post this, you open this door. How many of your doors are open? Which doors do you need to watch? Now we'll talk about how they use this, what they do. Now that they know your vulnerabilities, what kind of social engineering are they doing? Let's look at some high-level social engineering. This is a very interesting spying case. The fellow in the middle, Robert Hoffman Jr., is now in prison. And he was the target of some very high-level social engineering. This particular case just wrapped up recently. He was just recently sentenced to a very long time in prison, I believe about 30 years. This is a picture of him back in 2011 or 2012 in Dubai, I believe it was. He worked with the US Navy and submarines, and he worked with some top secret information. He went to Dubai and he met up with some lovely ladies from Belarus, and he was quite taken with those ladies from the Belarus, so much so that when he returned from Dubai, he decided to go to Belarus to pursue one of them named Irina. We don't know which one is Irina, one of these four. You can look and decide for yourself which one you think is Irina, which is the one he was pursuing. So he went there. And his posts on social media showed that there was concern. The US government was concerned. You've heard loose lips sink ships. They believed that he was being quite loose-lipped with information. He even talked about meeting with the president of Belarus in person. So they decided to do a social engineering campaign on him when he returned from Belarus to see what kind of information he was giving and what kind of information he was willing to give. They started online with an online dating service, and they sent a female agent to meet with him and quote unquote date him, be in a relationship with him to see how loose his lips were. And apparently they felt that his lips were loose enough that they would send in a second agent. Now, what did they do? They looked at his social media profile, and they definitely decided that approaching with attractive females was the way to get through to him. So they sent in a second agent. The federal government, the US government, sent in a spy, a female spy, who came to his door, who was very attractive. And he even writes in his journal that basically all he could think about was how beautiful she was, how attractive she was. So they definitely nailed it. When it came to social engineering, they knew how to do it. Ultimately, through the second agent, he revealed that he was willing to show secrets to Russia and that he actually put some top secret US submarine information on a thumb drive and gave it to someone who he believed was a Russian agent. Ultimately, he was caught, he confessed. I have no opinion on this case about whether or not the social engineering was appropriate, but apparently the jury did decide, or the judge did decide, that he was guilty, and he was put away for quite a long time. So they examined what were his vulnerabilities, and they went for them, and it definitely worked. Let's talk about low-level social engineering. This is very low level, and this is the package scam that we talked about. This message came into a friend of mine who's a TV news reporter in Portland, Oregon, where I worked for many years. Catherine, we came across a package from February pending for you. Please assume ownership and confirm for delivery here. It's the package scam. This is extremely low-level social engineering. They got her name and number most likely from a data breach. They put it in automation. They sent it out. But people are falling for this. We fall for very low-level social engineering. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. This is not even an attacker who looked at our social media profiles. This is an attacker who got a database and decided to send out some stuff. They can just hire someone to send it out. They don't even have to know how to do it themselves. So be warned that low-level social engineering works on us. If they step it up even a few notches, we can be victims. So what we want to do is look at this and look at what we are susceptible to. On top of that, there's something even worse. We already know something about this, but we really need to talk about that. Oh, before we get there, here's another low-level social engineering. example. That's the one where they send you an email and they say, hey, we caught you looking at an adult site. We were hacking your webcam. We see video of you doing something inappropriate. We're going to reveal it to everybody. And they often include your password in there, a password of yours. Doesn't have to be a current password, can be any password. This is a highly successful scam because people believe if they have my password, yes, they do have access to my webcam. And even if you didn't really do anything inappropriate, you go, oh my gosh, was my webcam open? Was it in the bedroom? Was I picking my nose or rubbing my face or, eating too much chocolate? Guilty of the chocolate part. And they fall for it. And really, they just got your password from a database that was breached. It could be an old password. Maybe you've changed it. And if you haven't changed your password after a data breach, that's a problem. Once again, very low level, and people fall for it because it's that easy. Now here comes the one that is even worse. That's free social engineering. That's not even low level social. This is where you give away. This is where you give the keys to the attacker. You just are not only opening the door, you are giving the key away. You're knocking on hackers' doors, attackers' doors, and giving them the key. That's answering these free questions on social media. This is a Facebook site, a Facebook page called What is Your Dream Car? Where you get to post what your dream car is. That's a very popular security question for banks and other places. What is your dream car? So if you post what your dream car is, and you're using that for a security question, you just gave them the keys. Here's another one, Social Saturday, what was the name of your first ever pet? This was posted by a veterinary clinic in my area in Portland, Oregon. I've covered up the name because we don't want to embarrass anybody, and the names of the people who responded. And people are saying the names of their first ever pet. Very cute names, Sarge and Snuffy and Snippy, and oh, just so cute. But also a very popular security question and an easy way to let people in. Look, you're just giving it away. How hard do the attackers have to work to get it? They don't. You can just search this up. It's not like they have to follow the clinic or follow you. You can search this up. It's searchable. That's how I found it, was I just did a search for discussions on social media of first ever pets. So easy. And the last one, so popular, another Facebook post from another business in the Portland area. Your quarantine name is the last thing you ate and your high school mascot. Go! People answer it. Subway Sandwich Bruin, Chicken Pot Pie Yellow Jacket, Chorizo Eagle, Go SMCHS. So you have just given away your high school mascot. Also a security question in some places, in some situations. Egg Salad Spartans. You probably make it very obvious what your high school is anyway, so it's really a terrible idea for a security question. But when you answer these things, when you participate, you do make it easy. So what to do in this kind of situation? If you want to participate, your best advice is to make it up. Make up a mascot. And heck, make up one that's even funnier. Pick something that you last ate and come up with a mascot that's even funnier. That way you get to participate and be a part of it, but you're not giving things away. With all of this, the goal is for not for you to be paranoid about posting on social media. Yes, the advice is always be careful about what you post. What I do is I'm relatively judicious about what I post, and when I post, I think about what does this open me up to? What am I saying I will respond to? And if someone sends me a link, I do not click. I go to the website and type in the link, or I search for it separately online. And that way you can cut off that particular area of vulnerability. And you can be aware if someone calls you and says, I'm with Rockwell IT or whatever company. If they say, I want to work on an issue on your system, say, may I please have the ticket number? And then hang up and then look up the number yourself. You're trying to be friendly. You're trying to be nice. The social engineers know that. They know you want to be friendly and nice and helpful and do the right thing. And they'll take advantage of that. But start putting up barriers so that you do not blindly follow and fall into these traps that are set for you. Look at your social media. Think about it every time you post. What cache am I flashing? What do I need to watch for? And this is the way that all of us can stay safer online and do better. That is the end of the presentation, but I'm glad to answer any questions. You can watch our fun videos on the YouTube Archer News Network. You can reach me on Twitter at Carrie T News, and you can always ask questions at carrietomlinson@protonmail.com.
Carrie, egg salad Spartans. I don't know, it cracks me up. Wow, what an amazing presentation. I'm blown away how such simple, innocent posts that folks put out there can be turned so quickly and easily by the hackers.
Yes, it is very easy, and it's not something you necessarily think about. The answer is not to just give up. The answer, a lot of people in this kind of situation say, well, I can't post anything, so it doesn't matter what I post. I'm just going to give up. Don't give up. Just think about it. Put yourself in the mind of the attacker and say, how would I hack myself? When I post this, how would I hack myself? And then just watch for that. Keep watch as best you can.
So I think you just answered one of the questions that came in, Carrie, and someone asked, because so many hackers use social media to attack, is one answer to this problem simply to limit your use of social media?
And that's a great question, and it's a personal question that everyone needs to answer. In this time of pandemic with people working from home, social media is sometimes the only way we're surviving, by connecting with people. I can tell you what I do. I am careful about what I post. And with my close friends, I talk to them through smaller groups. So I try to limit my exposure. I'll talk to them through text messages. I'll talk to them through Slack channels created just for our group, maybe smaller groups on Facebook, although Facebook is certainly quite an open technology. And what I post, I try to be aware of what I post. I feel better if I am highly aware, if I don't just post constantly all day long about everything that I am doing, because I want to know what I'm exposing myself to. I do not think the answer is to not use social media. That would not work for me, and I don't think it would work for anybody. So once again, the answer is just be cautious. You have to have a social presence online for jobs. For jobs now, they will look at who you are and what you do online. We live online. The answer is to be more careful.
So that's a good transition into this next question, Carrie. Is there a way to verify if someone messaged you on LinkedIn, if it's real or not?
The only way to do it is to go around it and separately contact other people from the company. This is how far they're going on LinkedIn. They're starting ahead of time, long before they message you. They create their fake profile, and this works well with big companies. Then they contact other people in the company and connect with those people. So if you work for a big company and you can't verify all the employees, and you get a connection message from someone and you look up their name and it's a real name from a real employee at the company, it's very hard to determine if that person is real just by looking at the LinkedIn profile, because they may be connected with other people. So what we're learning now is that we have to do some verification processes above and beyond just that message on LinkedIn. What I would do if I got a message from someone from my company on LinkedIn, I would first try to verify independently, go online, search up that name, search up that person, see if there's another profile on LinkedIn already for that person, and look at the profiles and try to verify. I would also contact other people in that and say, hey, do you know this person? And I would also talk with the scammer myself. I'm in fact talking right now with a scammer on LinkedIn who sent me a message. And I am currently talking with them, sussing them out, trying to get their game, and I will do a news story on it so that we can all learn from it. I am not afraid because I know that I will not be clicking on any links. Do I recommend that for everybody? No. I've had many years of experience with investigating these kinds of scams. But it is no longer acceptable to just trust that someone on LinkedIn who says who they are is actually that person. It gets very awkward when you're looking for jobs and when you're getting approached, because some people do approach on LinkedIn. You have to take every person who messages you about a job on LinkedIn, you have to treat them as if they are an attacker. And you have to keep making steps, taking steps to verify. A lot of them will say, don't tell anyone, you know, we know you're working already at this company and we haven't posted this yet. So let's keep this under wraps. Don't tell anyone about the job. And that you really have to treat as if it is a scam and an attacker. Once again, we have created these technologies, these ways of communicating. And once again, attackers know that we trust and they have taken over and are using that trust. So always, always be suspicious.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. And, you know, I mirror that. Oftentimes, I love LinkedIn. It's a great professional tool. But when I get a request from someone who says they work at Rockwell, the first thing I do is go look into our internal directory and make sure that they really do work at Rockwell before I accept them, especially being in cybersecurity. I don't want to make that mistake.
And that's fantastic. And I would even add to that, maybe you're already doing this, but check to see if there are multiple profiles with the same name, because that big campaign that we talked about in the presentation, they were taking someone's profile and copying it and calling it the same name or slightly different. So that if you saw the picture and then, oh, that's Carrie Tomlinson, yeah, I know she works for this place, and you see the picture and you trust the picture, but check to make sure there aren't two profiles for the same person.
Oh, great advice. All right, let's switch gears here a little bit and talk about phone scams. So how do you best fight off phone scam calls? This person says, I get many calls and texts and cannot find the source to unscribe or stop these calls from happening. I typically send them directly to voicemail, but they just get so annoying.
Yes, sadly, there's not one magic answer for all of us. And I get lots of scam calls too. So a couple factors. A while ago, the Federal Trade Commission decided it was going to crack down on these robocalls, these robo-scam calls, but robocalls of all kinds, which legitimate companies were using. And they said that people have to opt in to these calls, and you could put yourself on a no-call list. So first of all, you put yourself on the no-call list, and companies had to subscribe to this no-call list, and if you were on the no-call list, they couldn't call you. And there were also ways that if you opt in, if you contact a company online, if you give them your phone number, then you are agreeing to allowed to be contacted by these people. However, what happened is the bad guys started using it, and the attackers do not subscribe to the no-call list, and they don't follow the laws of the land because they don't care. They're committing crimes. It's not like they're going to stick around to pay the penalties for violating this. So only the legitimate companies are doing this. From time to time, a legitimate company will fall afoul of the rules and will have to pay a fine for it. But for the most part, the attackers don't. So what's happening is legitimate companies are learning that people don't like to answer their phones anymore. They get so many robocalls that nobody's answering their phones. So legitimate companies are rarely calling you for any reason. That means most of the calls you're getting are the scam calls. You can try blocking their numbers, but they just change their phone number to another number, or they spoof a number. And you can't keep up with blocking all the numbers. They just change numbers so quickly that it's not possible. What you can do is you can implement some blocking in your phone. You can use some services that will help block robocalls, but once again, the number changing is an issue. What I do is I send all my calls to voicemail. unless obviously the number is a contact that you know and trust and talk to regularly. And you can set things on your phone so that only trusted contacts will ring through. And that can be very helpful. Check the settings in your phone and see if you can select certain people. Now, that does mean that you will miss some calls. Some calls will go to voicemail. For me, that is a better solution than to constantly talk to the scammers and answer the phone. One of the theories is that if you do answer the phone when the scammers call, that lets them know that it's a live number and they should keep calling. Some studies have shown that may or may not be true. Either way, your life will be better if you let calls go to voicemail. You can also let your friends and family and work know that if you call, I may let it go to voicemail because of the prevalence of scammers. In the future, agencies like the Federal Trade Commission will keep working on how to stop this, but for now, they do not have a handle on it, and we have to suffer unless we just don't answer the phone.
Yeah. Oh, Carrie, we have so many good questions coming in, and I'm afraid we're not going to get to all of them, but here is another one for us. If you take the bait and click on a coupon or a link and it turns out to be a hack, well, how do I protect myself after the fact?
Yes, and that's a very good question. And because it depends on, if you're talking, there's two aspects of it. There's the technological aspect, and then there is the future victim aspect. The technological aspect, you will want to check in with someone who knows your system, whether it's a Windows or a Mac, whether it's your phone, was it an Android, was it an iPhone, and figure out what to do from a technological standpoint. And there are different things you can do. You can reset your systems and various things like that. From a social engineering standpoint, you will need to be aware that you have likely gotten yourself on a sucker list as someone who will respond to that particular kind of scam, which means you will probably be subject to more of this in the future. And that's where, once again, it is our own awareness of what can happen that will protect us in the future. Do not feel bad if you click on one of these things. Do not feel bad. They can get all of us. There is no one who is immune. Do not think, boy, I'm a dummy. Make it an educational experience and say, aha, now I know. Now I know what works on me. I am more aware of my vulnerabilities. It's like if you are, say, an athlete. Now you know which races you're good at and which races you're not as good at. But unlike athletics, you don't have to run a mile to get better at it. Woohoo! You can just be aware. You can just talk about it and learn about it and go to presentations like this, and boom, you're smarter and your awareness muscles are stronger. So I hope that answered that.
Yes, thank you, Carrie. Another question, you talked about passwords, and at Rockwell Automation, we say passphrases. So what is, we have a different password for all of our apps, and all of everything needs a different password. So what is your recommendation of a good password manager?
Yes, great question. I do not recommend any particular password manager. What I tell people to do, because this is what cybersecurity experts have instructed me to do for things like password managers and other things, go to trusted publications that do reviews of this kind of thing. For example, password managers. There are 3 sites, for example, that are recommended to me by experts. PC Mag, Tom's Guide, and Consumer Reports. From time to time, they don't do regular reviews. Also, Wirecutters is another one. And these sites, especially like PC Mag and Tom's Guide, they do reviews every year of these things, and they compare all of them, and they give them ratings, numbers of stars, and they discuss the features, what works and what does not. You may not understand all of the language they use, the terminology they use when they discuss these things, but at the very least, you can look at the ratings and say, okay, I'd like to try one of these. Some cost money, some do not. Some have been hacked, some have not. Just because one has been hacked doesn't mean it's no good, because they fix the vulnerabilities, they learn from their errors, and they move on. Pick one, download it onto your laptop and phone. Always use it. You get one long, strong password or passphrase, which is excellent for the password manager, and then put all of your passwords in there. Do not reuse passwords. It is a huge way for the attackers to get in. Oh, also, one last thing. Don't just go to the search engine, any search engine, whatever it is, Google, and say, what's the best password manager? Attackers know this. They will plant things in the search results. They will plant fake ads. They will plant fake reviews. Instead, go to reputable publications that do reviews. Once again, I'll say them again. The ones recommended to me by experts: PC Mag, Tom's Guide, Wirecutters.
Carrie, we could talk to you all day, and there were so many questions that came in about parenting and kids today. I'm just going to throw you a softball here and say, last question, what advice do you have for parents with kids?
And that is such a huge, huge topic, and I'm grateful that you're asking because it's important. There are lots of good resources that you can check on to find out more in-depth stuff. Stay Safe Online is one. There's lots of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month resources that you can look up, CISA, CISA, and the Federal Trade Commission. In general, you want to make sure that your kids are using different passwords for every account, that you store their passwords in a password manager until they are old enough to do it for themselves. Number one, be in the same room as they are when they are on technology. This is very hard when we're working from home. I have 2 kids and they are going through virtual school, and it is very hard. But you want them to be on technology with you. We do not do technology in bedrooms. We do not do televisions in bedrooms. We're all in the same room when we're using technology. Check your children's phones, check your children's accounts. Encourage them not to click. Tell them the stories about gaming hacks. Kids love games. Tell them the stories about gaming hacks where hackers, malicious hackers, steal their passwords, steal all their V-Bucks or in-game currency, wipe everything out. They can't get their account back. They have to start over. This is meaningful for kids. Tell them about strangers. Tell them about friends and people you know who had strangers contact other kids on social media, and let them know. My children, I had a really hard time convincing them when they were younger that strangers are not all good people. They want to believe that person that they're seeing online is somehow a good person. Any YouTuber they believe is a good person. Tell them the stories, tell them real life stories of what happens, and watch over them on social media. Hopefully that helps.
Oh, thanks so much, Carrie. Thank you, Rockwell Automation, for hosting this event today. Thank you to our amazing speaker. Like I said, I could listen to you all day, and I will follow you out there on Archer News Network's YouTube channel. But to everyone else, thank you. To learn more and do your part, follow on social media the hashtag #BeCybersmart throughout the month of October for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And I wish everyone to stay well, stay healthy. Bye for now.
Bye.